Hey y'all, welcome to the OK Den Show.
Hey.
I'm Chyna Elizabeth, the daughter.
And I'm Titia Owens, the madre.
And today the topic is from daughter to friend.
Daughter to friend. So Elizabeth, this is a pretty long subject probably to talk about, or extensive.
For sure.
I want to use that word, extensive.
Because it's been a
subject.
process.
Definitely. And we want to make sure that we share every aspect of how we got here, right?
For sure.
Okay. So you want to get into it?
So let's go ahead and dive right in. For me, in our situation, I feel that my mom wasn't a friend. So she was just my mom. She was a parent. She was very strict. She didn't give me too much leeway on much. And she did, but when she wasn't feeling like it, like y'all heard in the other, she would feel it in her spirit that she didn't let me go nowhere, so I wouldn't go nowhere. I wouldn't do anything. And so being that she was strict, I felt like I couldn't really communicate with her. I felt like I wasn't able to do as much as like my other friends. I couldn't even wear makeup for real. I couldn't have a boyfriend. I still did. But I just didn't have the freedom. And even with me not having the freedom, I feel like I couldn't come to her. Like with the things that I did do, like with me having a boyfriend and she didn't know. She knew about the boy, but she ain't know. I didn't feel comfortable coming to her and telling her about these things and like really talking to you and expressing what I was dealing with, how I was going through. And I feel like in my younger years, I dealt with a lot, but I didn't really communicate. I just wasn't a communicator. So it was hard for me to just be open with you in that time. But your parenting was very straight to the point. It was just like, this is what it's going to be. And I respected her in a way, but I did do things that...
You tried me.
I tried her every single time because I just was like, she's saying this, but we're going to see. We're going to see what happens.
Little rebellious child.
I was very rebellious. I was like, oh, no. It sounded like yes to me. It sounded like, that sounded like yes.
You had a little wax buildup.
I don't think so. I think I heard her very clearly. Just decided that's not what she's saying.
Oh, so you had another voice speaking to you.
You know, the enemy, he will play with you and be like, that's not what she said.
Oh.
You know, you could make a way and not get caught. Still got caught every time. God was like, you gonna get caught. You gonna get caught. Exposed every time. So,
okay.
That was a little synopsis.
Gotcha. Well, I'll say this about me as a parent. What I realized early on was my children needed to have structure and they needed to have rules and guidance. So I remember the first time I was having to create structure was I was talking to Deanna on the phone. And you were probably 4 and Chris may have been 6. And we were on the phone and it was probably about 10:30 p.m. And she was saying, why are your kids still awake? And I said, I don't know. They're up playing. And she was like, shouldn't they be in bed?
Yeah.
Don't they have school tomorrow? And I said, well, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clear answer to that question. And she said, you know what? If I were you, I would put them to bed at a certain time each night. She said, for me, 8 p.m. is a good time. And that way they get an opportunity to rest and be revived for tomorrow. And you get a chance to rest and kind of collect yourself from being a parent.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that word and thought, oh my God, like that was a revelation right there.
Yeah.
And I remember from that point on, that became the rule for going to bed, at least. That was the foundation of guiding rules and planning structure.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I just started putting y'all to bed at 8 p.m. And what's so funny about it, you were the one that was running to the bed by 8 p.m. Like
Now that I believe.
Yeah, once that became repetitious, that was like a thing for you. Like, I need to go to bed.
I love sleep.
Yes.
To this day, can have a day of just sleeping all day. Don't call me.
She
Don't
has to
talk
get her
me.
restoration
All the time.
But anyway, that started the process of structure for them, just having something consistent that they were doing. And then, as I grew in the Lord, I knew that I wanted you guys to have some actual things that you did every single day. I remember also during that same time, when you were 4 and your brother was 6, I sat you both down and I introduced you to the Lord.
Oh.
And I remember asking you guys about Christ and sharing with you who he was and how important he was to me. And I remember you both being so excited to accept him.
Wow.
And you and Chris, y'all were both like, yes, we want to accept the Lord. We want to have a relationship with him. And I thought, okay, Lord, I remember that being the moment for me that I felt I needed to share more about Christ and that be the foundation. It was a time where it was just me and you and your brother. And I felt like he needed to be the head of our home.
Yeah.
And that was when I made the decision to sit you guys down and share that with you. And so that prompted a lot of rules and regulations that were going to happen. Thank you. That prompted guidance for me. And that meant a lot of strict rules.
Yeah.
I remember being very free as a young person, even though I had some rules. I ran from rules. I was not one to, I wasn't afraid of consequences, pretty much. I was given rules and I heard about consequences, but I was so fearless of them that caused me to be rebellious as well. And, even though my parents had given me structure and guidance, sometimes I wasn't verified. It wasn't necessarily, they trusted me enough to sometimes not come and check on certain things. And because I knew that I had gotten away with quite a bit before I got caught, that I knew with my children, I needed to be.
So you ain't trust us?
Not even a little bit.
I feel like I was a good child, but when you tell me, I'm the type of person, when you tell me I can't do nothing, I'm challenged. It's a challenge at this point. Like, what you talking about? Because I'm going to do the opposite.
Well, let me say this about Chyna as a child. So, what you see now is a blossomed, beautiful butterfly.
Gracias.
As a child, she had a rebellious, somewhat angry, and not so soft demeanor.
She a little right, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
my friends were very concerned that Chyna was not so nice to most people. They would try to be maybe kind or affectionate with her or communicating with her, and Chyna would kind of turn her nose up at them because she was not feeling new people.
I am a very observant person, so I feel like if I don't feel you, if we don't just connect.
So whatever that was, all I'm saying is because of that, I was very stern with Chyna. So that also caused me to create I was very observant to her, watching her demeanor, watching how she dealt with people. And like I said, I set rules in my home. So I made it a very firm foundation of what was going to happen, what was not going to happen. So in our home, I didn't allow them to have their television in a room. They didn't have their own television. They didn't have a cell phone. And everything had to happen in the den. So we ate, at our kitchen table. Sometimes it would be the counter. We would sit around the
bar.
counter. Yeah, the bar area, and we'd eat together. But we had to do everything together. I was very intentional about spending time together so that I didn't allow things to happen in their rooms on purpose.
And I will say I now appreciate that because I feel like I will definitely instill that in my family too. I don't know about the no TV.
Yeah. It was necessary.
But just certain things like making sure we're in the den together, making sure we're having that family time and just really spending time together. I really do appreciate that because I can see with a lot of families, it's a lot of separation because kids just aren't forced to be in community with their families.
Correct.
So I felt like that was really great on your end. So
well, gracias.
that's something good.
And the whole thing about that was, again, I wanted to know my children. I wanted to have quality time with them, but I was very strict about rules. So the thing about it was they had to be in bed at a certain time. They couldn't come and go as they pleased. Now, I became a little more lenient with my son when he got older because he played sports. So sometimes he would have to rely on his friends sometimes to take him to different events or whatever. But with Chyna, I didn't really let her do that. I let her stay home a lot more with me, and I'm sure she was trying to figure out why she couldn't do certain things.
It ain't that.
But I saw that spirit on my daughter, and so I wanted to protect that as much as possible. So I did not feel that she needed to have the same rights and privileges as her brother did. And then I will say this, to be on the clearer side, he had more of a kinder
Chris is very outgoing,
personality.
for sure.
And so
I feel like I am too when I'm with friends. If I don't know you, what are we talking for? But if you're my friend,
yeah.
I'm very outgoing, like super chill, super cool.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say as a child, I was giving you an opportunity to talk to me too, to kind of share with me some things that you were going through. Did you feel like I made you comfortable in that, or did you feel like that was something you weren't willing to do?
I feel like you presented it to me, but I wasn't going to do that.
And why?
Just because that's not who I was at that time. I wasn't a communicator. I didn't want you knowing my business. I was sneaky. I was, but I feel like, so I get that from my daddy. My daddy is not a good communicator. We done had this conversation, so this ain't nothing new. Hey, daddy, you can't talk.
Lord.
So I couldn't talk. And so I just wasn't naturally a good communicator. Every time I communicated, it just didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I would be mad that I even tried because you'd be like, girl, you can't talk. So I didn't want to do that. And I just hadn't gone and really healed and had that process with you yet to feel comfortable to do that. I know you presented it to me. You said I could, but
right.
That's nice. It sounds good.
Okay. I'm clear. So, and again, for me, what I want parents to understand is, as a parent, it is our job to be a good parent, not a great friend. Because again, I wanted to have a foundation established that I was to be respected, I was to be heard, and they were to do what I said. Now, we live in a world now where parents are a lot more lenient about consequences, discipline, and those kinds of things. So we want to make sure that we share with those parents out there that it just brings about a strong structure, I believe, or it builds a fear of consequence at some point. It may not hit right away, but at some point, if you establish the foundation and you know what you want to establish in your home, your kids will follow. And then that takes me to the scripture of Proverbs 22:6, where it says, train up the child in the way it should go, and when it gets old, it won't depart. So that was something that I wanted to establish.
So with that, do you feel there is a balance in there? Because I feel like with the structure, it kind of pushes the child away from wanting to have that relationship and wanting to be able to communicate. For me, at least, I felt like since you were so strict, we couldn't have that relationship even just to be in communication for real. Not even just a friend, but just able to talk freely because I was scared of how you was gonna take it or which way it was gonna go. Am I gonna get in trouble for this? Will I set myself up?
Yeah.
Coming to you with something. And I know you always say the truth set you free or whatever, but the truth sometimes gets you in trouble too.
It does, but those are the consequences. I mean, that's the thing about it is it depended on the level of sin that you committed.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I just wanted to make sure that I was opening up the door, that I was allowing you to have the opportunity to say and be what you needed to be in a space where you felt comfortable. Now, it didn't always work out that way, but I always gave you that communication. I always share with my children. They could say whatever they like.
For sure.
And even if they couldn't say it to me directly,
write it down,
send me a note, what have you. So parents take that too. And again, every child is not the same. Where her brother felt a lot more comfortable with talking to me, she did not. So, and I know you have to do things different with each child, but I also believe that Chyna was just that child that had decided that she was going to be the rebellious one. I mean, I just believe, I'm not being funny. I'm just saying that was her personality. That was her spirit. And I believe over time, she was healed with that. But that was who she was as a child. And I dealt with her in the manner of just staying on her. And then we also know that Proverbs 22:15 says that rebellion is bound in the heart of a child. That's a serious thing. And I believe that's where she was at. She was just in a mindset of rebelliousness while she was a child.
I don't disagree. But I feel a lot of it still stemmed from the strictness. I feel like if I had more leeway to have a childhood.
What kind of childhood did you not have?
To have fun with my friends. And then for me to see my brother get to do those things.
So you're saying you didn't get to do any of those things with your friends?
I'm not saying that at all. I definitely had the times where you would let me, but a lot of times I was at the house.
That is very true.
I was in bed. And if if she told me no, I would go to a friend's house. So I tried to get a little sneaky. I would be like, oh, I'm just going to a friend's house. We'll be going somewhere, just doing stuff we didn't need to be doing. And
so y'all was planning stuff
pretty much
behind your mama's back.
Yeah, that's what we do, because their parents was lenient, and I know if I went over there, we could do what we wanted to do. So yeah.
So you had friends who had lenient parents, and so how did you feel about that? What did that cause you to see or feel about those parents that had those kind of relationships?
I was real envious. I will not lie, because I'm like, why do I have the same type of thing going on? I just felt like their relationship still too was even better, just because they could have those conversations with them. Now they were out here wilding out. I will say they could do a little too much too soon, but at the same time they had their relationship. Even if they got in trouble, they could talk about it. They could move forward and learn from those experiences and just, grow in their relationship. But I will say, I feel like in the long run, still having that strict structure, I feel like it's better, because you just have more discipline as you get older with real life experiences. But back then, I wanted that freedom. I was like, why we can't? So back then, let me
go ahead and tell it.
So I had this friend. I ain't gonna throw her out like that. But there was a thing called Fun Time. When we were younger, Fun Time was the kids club of DeSoto. It was at DeSoto Rec. It would happen every Friday. Y'all, if you was at Fun Time, I don't even know where you at today, because it was crazy. Like, it was, I'm telling you, a whole kids club.
Oh, wow.
A kids club. Every Friday night, the DJ, everybody would be so excited to go every weekend. Like, we would be talking about it, planning about what you wearing, what we wearing. My mom, I don't even know if you knew about Fun Time.
I don't remember Fun Time.
But she ended up finding out. That's why I ended up going to this girl's house every weekend, because we would be going every Friday. So every weekend I'd be going to her house like, what we doing? Where we going? Having too much fun. And so I did see, and she's great.
I think I need to whoop you for that, because I don't remember about no fun time. Am I just not learning about this? Should I get the belt?
She found out then. I got a whooping for it. Don't act like we didn't go through this.
Okay.
Because once she found out, she was like, oh, absolutely not. I didn't go back over that girl's house anymore. Like, it was done data for that.
Okay.
And I feel like that was another leading point, because we was young. Like, that may have been middle school.
Junior high.
Yeah.
That's because that was when you probably had a little more privilege to go to a friend's house, because you surely weren't doing it before then.
Yeah, I was.
Not really.
I was a little bit. I will say, I had my elementary best friend.
Yeah, you did have your elementary best friend.
Now, it would be real. It had to be like her birthday.
That's all I'm saying. I didn't say you couldn't.
A special occasion. And she got to know the parents. They got to have a long conversation.
All of that.
Make sure who going to be at the house. Who going to be there, which is great. I'm not opposed to that at all. I would definitely be like that with my kids if I have them. But I feel like that's still a good thing, to make sure that everything is okay. But at the same time, I could have been, once you know that, I should be able to be with my friends.
No, because regardless of you knowing this about the parent, see, the thing about it is I have a past. I had a history. And I knew what I was able to get away with not just my parents, but my friends' parents.
Yeah.
We worked schemes on both sides. So just because I knew the parent, I also knew my child. So therefore, I felt like she would still try them if she couldn't get away with it with me.
For sure.
And by me not being able to monitor her over there, that still, it didn't stop my radar. I was never not thinking that I needed to be paying attention to what Chyna was doing or what she possibly could be thinking she wanted to get away with. I was always thinking about those things. And I want to say this about myself. When I realized and I was disciplined, but I can't say that I was disciplined to the point where I had a fear of the Lord. And because I didn't have that fear, when it came to me giving my life to Christ and really living for him, I had a hard time getting to him. I had a hard time getting to the Lord, because I was so built up in my mind, in the sense of not being afraid of consequences. I knew that I loved the Lord. I knew I was fearful to a certain degree of him, but I felt like the not being disciplined caused me to have a harder time getting to him. Like, I knew how to even try to manipulate the Lord in my mind, because I had done it so much. It had become a practice for me. And so by being a practice, you have to undo practices, and they don't just happen overnight. It is solely a process.
Yeah.
And because of that, I had to be committed to humbling myself, to disciplining myself by getting in the word and staying accountable to people that could see who I was and be involved with what I was doing, so they could say, wait a minute, what's going on with you? So that's what I was doing with my children. I was keeping my eyes on them because they weren't necessarily willing to be accountable. So I had to assist them in that process. And so that was all a part of the parenting journey that we were on during that time. So that was going to happen.
I feel you.
No, okay. So
I'm actually, my lips is a little dry. So I feel like I need some gloss.
Well, while you doing that, I'm going to get out of them little powder.
You should do that.
You know, I like the little...
You got the whole shebang.
I got the banana powder. Y'all, I like this banana powder right here. This is one of my go-tos.
I mean, she got the whole thing.
Yeah, I just use my little top, and I put a little powder in there, and then I got my little spongy thingy. And I go in there like that. And then I kind of...
I love that for you.
I don't want no shine. She like shine on her lips, but I don't like shine on my skin.
I like to shine on my lips, my nose, a little highlight.
I don't want no highlight bling, because that only mean one thing.
I want a highlight bling.
I don't want that, because that mean one thing. Boo. Okay, so back to it.
back to the conversation. So what you not having discipline and like trying to throw that on us?
I threw that on y'all.
Because you threw it all the way. It was just like drastic, non-drastic all the way. It wasn't any in between. It wasn't no, we're going to try and see how this works. It was just all the way. And so with that, do you feel like seeing us now, your kids, do you feel like that was the best choice?
Definitely. I wouldn't change a thing. I know for you, because you're the girl, and girls like having freedom. I had the same mindset. I liked having freedom. For me, it was growing up and realizing the fight to Christ. For me, I didn't want you all to have the same battle that I did. And if that meant me being harder on you, if that meant you not being able to do as much as you could, I was fine with that. Now, you all may not have liked it. You may not have liked me. I did not care. My whole thing was, if you can get this discipline, because I also made sure I loved on you guys too. I wasn't just rebellious.
That's very true.
Not rebellious, a disciplinarian.
Yeah, that's very true.
I made sure that you all felt loved as well. And I always feel like that's the whole point in being balanced. Having too much discipline can cause even more rebelliousness. But I felt like, because you all felt my love, it caused you to battle with even being rebellious at times. Not to say that you still didn't try to do things, because that's just what kids do a lot of times. But I felt like your love for me too, over time, as you got older and you realized my love for you, that it will cause you to kind of remove that hardness that you may have been carrying. And you may be able to speak to that. Like, did you feel, can you remember those times where I was trying to not just discipline you, but also show you that you were valuable, that you meant so much to me, and that I wanted to have time with you?
I will definitely say, after every whooping, she will be coming and trying to talk to me. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. You just gave me the worst whooping of my life. Everyone was the worst whooping of my life. My mama didn't play no games. And she gonna talk to you while you getting your whooping about why you getting your whooping, why you need to not get another one again. So at that point, get out of my face. We have nothing to talk about. Oh, yeah. So she definitely would come back and tell me why and explain why she has to do this, so that I would understand and learn from the experience and get an understanding, and all the love and discipline and structure. Yay! No! I don't want to hear it. But I will say, over time, it did help, like, realizing, looking back, it gave the good balance of knowing, like, this is out of love, this is because you care, and this is because you want me to be better. But I could have been perfectly fine without the whoopings. I think the talk would have did it for me. We could have said, hey, we need to fix this. We need to have this conversation. Maybe ground me. Grounding.
Nope.
It was straight whooping every time and grounding. It wasn't just the one, actually. Now that I think about it, it was the whole shebang. I was on punishment one time for 6 months. Everybody like, when are you not going to be on punishment anymore? I don't know. She wouldn't give me a time. She wouldn't tell me. It's like, you just going to figure it out. When I feel it in my spirit, that's when you're going to be free from the shackles.
Right. Basically.
But it was definitely back to the love.
Right, because that was still a lot on the consequence side.
I definitely feel like that helped me to open up more, because you reassured me and affirmed that I was still your child, and that you still loved me, and that I was valuable, and that I could grow, and this is not where I had to stay. Right. And that it was just a bigger picture. You just wanted more for me. And I do appreciate that. But in the moment,
You said, but not back then.
not in the moment.
And I understand that. I just, again, we live in a world now where parents have a hard time with disciplining their children, and they're fearful of the consequences of disciplining their children. But I didn't want the world to discipline my children. I wanted to have them close to me, and I wanted them to have a relationship with the Lord. And for me, that was the way.
That's good.
Everybody thinks differently. Everybody has their own way of doing things. As for me and my house, we were going to serve the Lord, and whatever that meant, it meant for me discipline. It meant consequences. It meant being fearful of not just me seeing you, but the Lord seeing you.
Yeah.
And so that was where those love talks would come in, where I would try to sit and share with them, that I wasn't the only one that was watching them, that the Lord could see everything that they were doing, and they needed to be mindful of that. And I felt like even though they may not have gotten it at a younger age, they got it over time.
For sure.
And that was the goal, was for love to be a part of it, as well as strong consequences. But then, Chyna, there was a time when you were getting older. You're now getting ready.
Before we get there, I want to ask you, how did you feel when I would be rebellious, me or Chris? Like, how did that make you feel?
Well, because I knew you, again, parents have to realize who their children are. You all are a part of who I am. And because I knew I was that way, I knew where I came from, it kept me in the mindset of, and of course, reading the word, it tells me that this is a part of my child's life, that if we are to take the Lord at his word, rebellion was bound in your heart.
Yeah.
So this was an expectation for me to have to deal with.
Got you.
So I wasn't thinking, oh my God, my children are not supposed to be this. I was thinking, this is a part of what God says is going to be. Everybody is different, of course.
So do you feel like it was a consequence for you, being that you were rebellious?
I would not say that it was not. I wouldn't say that it didn't correlate, it didn't correlate. I feel like, there are certain things that happen because of the things that we do as children, because of the consequences that we put our own selves into, and the Lord will allow you to reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And so therefore I was not surprised. At the same time, my commitment was, I want to do things different with my children, Lord. I want you to walk with me in this journey. Whatever that looked like. And regardless of how you all felt about it, my commitment was to be a godly parent. And that may have felt very strict.
It was.
Okay.